when did Riverfest start?
I think that it started in 1987.
Okay.
We needed Dr. Lamer here to tell us that, but
Yeah.
I think it started in 1987, but it was Labor Day.
Oh.
And they brought in a gypsy troupe to entertain.
Really?
Yes, it was a lot of fun. And that year, the only little trail they had sort of bushwhacked from where River Reach Terrace is up the trail just a little ways. It wasn't a finished trail. There were no plazas or anything.
Yeah.
And then the following year, they moved it to Memorial Day weekend because the rafting in the water on the river.
Okay.
And it's been going ever since, every year except for 2020 and 2021.
Riverfest is a massive event that takes place in Farmington every year over the Memorial Day weekend. The event stretches from Bird Park to Animas Park and attracts area residents, visitors from the surrounding area, and people from out of state. The state of New Mexico considers it an event crucial to the well-being of tourism for the state. It's kind of a big deal. Last year I interviewed Debbie Brath and Cody Dudgeon about the 2022 event, which brought Riverfest back after a 2-year hiatus, after being shut down during the 2020 and 2021 lockdowns. It was such a great interview that we had to break it into 2 separate episodes. The River Reach Foundation and the Riverfest Planning Committee are hard at work nailing down the final details of the 2023 event. Because everyone is so busy, including myself, I decided to dust off last year's episode, pull some clips from it, and run it again this year. The weather's getting warmer. It's time to unpack your summer clothes, put on your shorts, sandals, and sun visors, and get the lawn chairs out of the garage. Memorial Day weekend will be here in a few short weeks. Then sit back and relax as we remind you about one of the area's most amazing summer kickoff events. Want to see how it goes?
Come along for the ride in Ken's Think Tank.
Ken's Think Tank is made possible by the following sponsors. Ken Collins Marketing. It's simple. We help small business owners get more customers. Are you tired of the same old boring merchandise? Do you want to add some flair to your life? Introducing Ken's Treasure Chest. We offer a wide variety of unique and high-quality consumer products, from t-shirts to puzzles, phone cases to metal posters. Visit kenstreasurechest.com today and add some treasure to your life. Show our sponsors some love. If you're watching the video, show us some love by smashing the like button. And remember, the views and opinions expressed on Ken's Think Tank do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors.
This year I am doing a river raft parade. The River Raft Parade is a costume contest that we're going to float from Animas Park, which is right there by the animal shelter, down to the Miller Street Bridge. That particular float is only about 1.5 miles about, and we're trying to get the community to come out. Anybody that's a river rafter or stand-up paddleboarder, kayaker, etc., to come out, wear a costume, have some fun, and just get out on the river. That event is on Sunday at 11 a.m. And then I also have a group of National Honor Society kids that I work with, because I'm also a teacher, that they put on a recycled fashion show. There are many other events out there, including the Wiener Dog Race. Debbie, how many years has that been going on?
I don't know. I would say probably around 15 years. And the Wiener Dog Race is if people are out there and have wiener dogs, they should get their dogs entered into that, because it doesn't take any skill. In fact, most of the wiener dogs don't have a clue what they're out there for.
Right.
They put them in boxes,
Right.
They open the gates, and the owners at the other end of the finish line patting the ground and waving their favorite toy, and the idea is for the dog to run across to their owner. But usually what they do is they chase each other, they stop and pee, they do other things, and it's quite a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it is fun, and they have wiener dog merchandise for sale as well, so it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And that's our start off event in the morning on Saturday morning. It starts at 11, hundreds of people are going to register their dogs. That starts at 9:30, and it's just a lot of fun. And then actually before the event even starts, we have some what would you call it, maybe physical fitness items. We have the Farmington Rec Center has a race every year. It's like a 10K, 5K, 2-mile fun run.
Okay.
And people would register at the Farmington Rec Center for that. They start at 8 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock, there's a yoga session near the little pavilion, that blue gazebo. And so any of the information on any of these events you can get on our website, which is riverfestnewmexico.com. And it's got tabs for every one of these events. Cody was talking about, Sunday events as well. Saturday, we have Joe Tohani and Junior and the White Mountain Apache Crown Dancers, and that's usually our biggest crowd draw. Draws in probably, well, I would guess maybe thousands of people.
Really?
Yeah, and that's at the little pavilion, and where the music takes place at Berg Park, and then on Sunday, the One Nation Gourd Dance Club, I want to get their name right, sponsors a gourd dance at the Veterans Memorial Plaza, and that goes on all day Sunday. And like Cody mentioned, there's music at both Rocky Reach Terrace, which is down by the rapids, or Rocky Reach Landing, and River Reach Terrace, which is what most people call Berg Park.
Right.
So there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. Arts and crafts vendors, other kinds of vendors.
Yeah, it's a huge event. There's a lot of stuff going on at that thing.
Yeah, for days. And, Cody hasn't mentioned, really one of the most fun things is to go rafting. Cody might know something about that.
I mean, it's a whole celebration on the river.
Yep, it's all about the river.
Of the river and for the river.
Yeah, and so the rafting is being done by the Desert River Guides Raft Company.
Cody, you own, with your wife, you own Desert River Guides.
And so we will be offering $20 person raft rides for all ages, any age group. And we're going to have a pop-up and a table set up right there at the put-in. The put-in is by the animal shelter, just below the animal shelter at the river. And so we'll have our little setup there at the river, and we'll be going down about once every hour, doing our best to make as many laps as possible. And so we'll have people just meet us right there, and we'll get them their life jackets and a paddle and a raft to sit on and take them downstream. It's a real fun class 2 to low class 3 run that's really family friendly. We can take kids as small as 35 pounds, usually about 5 years of age, and all the way to your great grandma if she wants to go.
Yeah, and I mean there is a rapids section that's been installed in a portion of that, right? That there are different ways to navigate. So you can kind of navigate it cool and easy, or you can make it a little bit more exciting if,
Yeah, absolutely. There's that rapid was actually paid for and made about 15 or so years ago, Debbie?
About 20.
20 now. And the River Reach Foundation was directly involved with replacing that. It had been
Well, actually, it was directly involved with getting it put there in the first place.
Right.
And then periodically it has been repaired because the water undercuts it.
right.
And the River Reach is usually a driving force in making sure that gets done.
Yeah, and so some of those funds that we make off of doing Riverfest go to maintaining the river, protecting it, enhancing it where it needs to be enhanced, and restoring it when absolutely possible. That rapid is really a lot of fun. It's a couple of big splashes, and then there's several more little splashy waves down lower that have been recently put together as fish weirs they're really fun too. So it's about a 45-minute trip on the water, and it's just a great time.
A couple events that I didn't mention before. There's disc golf going on.
Yeah.
You can check the tab for information on that. And then on Sunday morning, there's just a fun dog walk called Riverfest. And there's all kinds of other little events that take place. we've got music set up, and that of course is always it's always subject to change at the last minute or whatever. But we have a lot of the popular groups from the area.
The groundwater that flows in New Mexico, most of it flows through here?
65%.
65%, okay.
Of all groundwater in New Mexico.
For the entire state?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The San Juan is actually one of the larger tributaries to the Colorado River.
Right.
It flows through here. The Animas River, of course, is a tributary to the San Juan. And the San Juan flows out to Utah and then sort of zigzags its way along the Utah-Arizona border until it reaches Lake Powell.
Right.
Where it dumps one of the largest sediment loads of the Colorado River as well, right there into the lake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. We're so dependent in this area on that water flow. I mean, that's where we get our water. We don't get rainfall, we get it from the river.
Right, and that's all coming from the snowpack out of the southern San Juans.
Right. So both the Animas and the San Juan, we kind of rely on that.
Well, and switching gears a little bit from Riverfest to just outdoor recreation.
Yeah.
That's one of the advantages Cody's company has over, say, Durango. When the water lowers on the Animas as summer comes in,
right,
there's still water on the San Juan.
Yeah.
They have to keep they have to let water out of the dam to keep fish habitat, and so there's an opportunity to raft all summer long.
Yeah.
And into the fall here, because we have both the Animas and the San Juan.
Right.
Yeah, the minimum flows on the San Juan River below the confluence with the Animas is 500 cubic feet per second, which isn't a whole lot of water, but it's enough to float on top of.
Sure.
And they're protecting a fish called the razorback sucker. And it has a natural habitat between the confluence all the way down into Lake Powell, actually.
Yeah,
So,
I got to be there once when they were releasing them into the river, and that was really neat.
There's usually like an arts and crafts area.
Okay.
We get sponsors. Initially, the River Reach used to pay for all the materials, and the last couple of years we've been able to get sponsors that cover those expenses. So kids do arts and crafts. There's no charge for them on that. It's just for fun.
Right.
Then there's vendors that do things that kids like especially face painters.
Yeah.
And balloon animals and things like that.
But then there's some adult only type of things, and by way of like a beer tent and
Yep.
wine.
Yep.
Is it gonna be
Clancy's does beer and wine.
wine? Okay.
And at both venues. We started that some years back. We started at just Rocky Reach Landing, and we expanded it.
Okay.
And so it's at both ends now. So they just have they're lined up there with the food trucks.
Yeah.
And but they're near the music in both cases, so you can, if you're 21 and you're so inclined, you can go have a beer and sit down and listen to music.
And there are a lot of food trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is a pretty large task to put this event together. All the board members are involved in one way or another. And then, so how many board members are there?
We have 15 board members.
Okay.
What we have is what are called executive directors. So I have an executive director that's over me, and she takes care of, or she's responsible for checking up on all the vending. I'm a director of arts and crafts, so I'm putting together the arts and crafts show, which is at River Reach Terrace. So basically, I just report to her and tell her, I have this many vendors set up already. If I have any issues, I would let her know, etc. And then that way, when we used to have Riverfest organizing committee meetings, there'd be like 30 people in the room, and let me tell you, it was chaos.
Yeah.
You had all these sidebar conversations
Right.
going. So this way we have, I think it's 8 or 9 people that meet on a regular basis, and then I report to my executive director.
Right.
And Deanne Waters is in charge of vendors, and so she reports the same executive director I do, etc.
Right.
And so that, I think that'll work out a lot better.
And then you've got an army of troops. You've got an army of volunteers as well.
Yep. Chris Troyer is in charge of our securing our volunteers. Cody's been, well, I'll let Cody talk about his volunteers in a minute, but we've got a new app that we're using for volunteer management, and people can just sign up. They can, and now with the new app, they can sign up for when they want to work and where they want to work. Before you just sort of signed up and then Chris would get hold of you.
Sure.
But Cody's been instrumental because he's the National Honor Society sponsor at Piedra Vista. He gets us kids. They are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are such a great asset. Yeah. They do such hard work.
Yeah, those kids are just looking for fun stuff to do and are really community involved. The cool thing about being a teacher is getting to work with those motivated and really go-getter type of kids, and that's part of why I chose to be the sponsor advisor for National Honor Society, because those are the kids that want to go out and get some stuff done and find ways to benefit their community.
Right.
You know, we have kids that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and they just want to get out there and help, and they're driven and dedicated to what they do, and they're responsible and on time, which is, I mean, we get a lot of adult volunteers that don't show up for a shift, whereas...
Can I also add they're enthusiastic and energetic?
That is also true, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just really cool to work with that group of kids and also other kids throughout the high school. I don't just limit the volunteer opportunities to those Honor Society kids. Of course, I make it known to all of my students that I work with at PV that this is available. And the ones that sign up are typically really good, hardworking kids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we have, I think, anytime maybe between 150 and 250 volunteers that work various shifts.
Because you need that many.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It's an army of people.
I think you know, we have information booths, and this year we're going to have merchandising booths and parking.
Right.
And in the past, we've relied heavily on our local ROTCs for parking, because that's what they do. They know how to do that.
Sure.
And we've used Shiprock and Piedra Vista and Farmington High School ROTCs over the years.
Yeah.
And they do a great job too.
Man, what a great event we've been putting on for, like you said, close to 25 years now.
35 years. 34, I think, is
what the decision's been made.
Now.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Wow.
And it couldn't be done without the community turnout, because we couldn't make something like this happen without people wanting to be here.
Yeah.
And so bringing Farmington together, and then bringing the rest of the community of New Mexico and Southwest Colorado and Utah and Arizona, we get people from all over the Four Corners, and sometimes people just traveling through run into this amazing event, and then they decide to come back or stay in Farmington for a little bit longer. And that's what it's all about, is bringing your family out, getting something to do that you can have a lot of fun and be outdoors.
Right.
And so we like to celebrate our rivers, because that's what rivers are great for, is getting people outdoors.
Yeah. You know, the ride that I took with you on our episode, there was a family who was doing just that, right? They were here for a different reason, and then discovered the rivers, and what? I can take a raft on the river? And they did it, and they absolutely loved it. It was like this amazing experience, and they want to come back.
There's one thing I want to add that I think we didn't mention.
Okay.
And that is the City of Farmington, the Parks Department, the City of Farmington in general, and the Parks Department. They are phenomenal to work with, and we don't do this event by ourselves. You know, the Parks Department does a massive amount of work, and they are just so great to work with. And I've worked with them for like 20 years now, and they're always just they're lifesavers. And, our Parks Department is phenomenal, period. But specifically with Riverfest, we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of really good troops over there, and they know what they're doing. They just know what they're doing.
And they enjoy doing it. You know, they don't. It's not like, oh God, it's Riverfest again.
Right.
It's like, you know, they're enthusiastic about it.
Right.
And they have ideas. You know, like if you got, we've got this problem. Well, what about this?
Right.
And you know, the City of Farmington steps up in a lot of ways. Parking is an issue. we have remote parking out at Gateway Museum, and the Red Apple Transit will bring people down
Right.
here. They don't charge the people. They don't charge us.
Right.
The city of Farmington stepped up and said, hey, this is an issue.
Yeah.
Let's help you out. They also transport people. Well, I think we get a medical van from the hospital that we transport people like from here to the other side that maybe
Right.
can't walk all the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really pretty walk, but it's a long walk, you know.
And
So
for older people or people with disabilities, it's not. Our river trails are not particularly friendly.
yeah, it could prevent somebody
Yeah.
from going to the other side of that thing. But if you can just park here, you know, and do the things that are here, and then get a ride over to the other side and do all the things that are on the other side as well.
And when you get to the other side, we have the Antique Tractor Association,
Right.
which basically is like a hayride.
Yeah.
They'll take you from the parking lot down to Rocky Reach Landing, so
Right.
that you can. I know one time I was so tired, and I was parked over there, and I'd walked across and back and forth, and I saw that tractor, and I was like, oh God, thank you, thank you. You can take me the last quarter mile. So,
Yeah.
it was nice.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of, we're hoping, I don't know if we will, but we're hoping, like with our Riverfest event, to be able to involve the animal shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, it's back, everybody. Riverfest. So this year.
RiverfestNewMexico.com.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any questions about any of the events, or how do I get to be a vendor, or how could I get my food truck in there, or whatever, all the contact information is at the website.
Yeah.
Particularly at the end of the website where it says, where there's a vendor tab.
Right.
Sponsorship. If you're a company like Ken Collins Advertising, or
Right.
if you're a company and would like to be a sponsor,
Right.
We have opportunities. We'll take your money.
Yeah.
And we'll put your name all over everything, and saying, these people help bring, because we rely on our sponsors.
Yeah.
It's the sponsors that make the events possible.
Make the event possible, and then the event makes
Generates
so
money,
many
too.
other things that you guys do, that the River Reach Foundation does in and around the rivers and for the rivers. So, I mean, you'll take their money, but you'll put it to a really great cause.
It's not like we're going to Acapulco or anything. All the money that we raise,
we travel the world looking at other people's rivers.
No, we don't do that. It all goes into projects here. So that's
all
why
stays
we do
in the
it.
local community to benefit the community.
And there's been a lot of development. I mean, a lot of development. I grew up just right up here, and I used to come down here. I loved it. There was nothing. There was nobody, and I was an introvert, so I could go down here and get away from people. But it was just trees. There was no development. It was just trees and like game trails and whatnot. And man, and now since I've come back and I'm an adult and everything, my girlfriend and I, we would come down here and walk the trails, and you could take multiple different paths and bridges and get to the other side of the river, which wasn't an option when I was a kid, And
not without getting your feet wet.
I know, and so
Slipping on the stones.
just so much development, but parks springing up and river access, and just the whole thing. So there's so many things that's been going on, but besides just cleanup efforts, and it just goes on and on and on.
Ken's Think Tank is made possible with help from these fine sponsors. Basin Home Health and Hospice, keeping you healthy, happy, and home since 1992. Durango Joe's, with a smile, a warm greeting, and a great cup of coffee. Farmington RV Sales and Service, serving the Four Corners since 1959.